Right, good morning, evening, afternoon, everybody. My name is Paul. I'm also called Knickknack, and
Spoilers.
hello, good evening, and welcome to the at Mr. Cuddy 2977 channel. My name is Paul. I'm also known as Knickknack and as Mr. Cuddy 2977. I run this YouTube channel and a blog called Knickknack's Old Peculiar. I do the daily teaser quiz, and you'll see those float past on YouTube and on the blog, especially if you subscribe. I also talk about movies I've watched, and I also talk about TV shows I'm watching, especially ones that I think will get watched because they're about popular shows. I'm a tart who likes the attention. What can I tell you? Apart from the fact that tonight is Saturday the 12th of April, and I've watched The Robot Revolution, the first in the new series, which is either the 15th season or the second series of the new series of Doctor Who, with the 15th Doctor played by Ncuti Gatwa. This episode is rather interesting, but I think I should tell you what happened and then what I thought. Episode 1, The Robot Revolution, shows us a shot of the sky and then gently pans downwards to show us Alan Budd, Johnny Green, enthusiastically talking about a distant star to his girlfriend, Belinda Chandra, played by Farada Sethu, revealing, much to Belinda's embarrassment, that he spent quite a bit of money on having that particular star named after her. The scene shifts to 17 years later, where the now adult Belinda is a trained nurse at an unnamed hospital, heading back, after her shift, to the flat share she calls home, only to find a few things out. There's very little in the fridge, and most of that smells. Her flatmates are slightly too noisy for her comfort, and large, heavily armed, unfriendly robots seem very keen to make her acquaintance. The situation is only made worse when the robots get Belinda to their homeworld of the strangely named homeworld of Miss Belinda Chandra 1. The planet is ruled not by the humanoid Miss Belinda Chandra kind, but by the robots who've kidnapped her. Those robots want Belinda to become the queen of the planet. She's not impressed. Getting forced into being a monarch at gunpoint really doesn't sound like a good idea. And that's only where her problems start. Now, what did I make of the Robot Revolution, and did I notice anything? Let's start with did I notice things, shall we? Season 1 of Ncuti Gatwa's era had 8 episodes of competently done good TV, complete with a few elements in there that I found familiar. The landmine in Boom that recalled a scene in Genesis of the Daleks. The old man in Joy to the World who knew about a pair of very strange women living near St. Paul's Cathedral. Shape-changing aliens in Rogue. There's possibly plenty more. So I went into the Robot Revolution expecting something similar, a certain amount of recycling, and I don't think I was disappointed. After all, the rocket ship that the robots use looks like the mutant offspring of Flash Gordon's rocket ships and a V2 missile. The time fracture plot point that seems directly lifted from the 4th Doctor era City of Death, and finding finally at the episode's climax that the Earth had gone missing. That's why I put in spoilers, by the way. That seems to me is lifted directly from the Stolen End and Journey's End, or the Stolen Earth and Journey's End, the David Tennant two-parter where basically the Earth gets nicked by the Daleks. That missing planet idea is, I think, going to be a key point for the whole season, especially as Belinda explicitly tells the Doctor he has to get her home. It's going to be the whole swing of it, and I don't think it's Daleks this time. But that's possibly beside the point. There are other things I noticed in this episode. At one stage, we see the Doctor and Belinda helping various injured soldiers, with Belinda specifically asking the Doctor if a dislocated shoulder was similar enough to a human dislocated shoulder for her to be able to treat it by popping it back into the joint. And then she learns that the big difference between humanity and Miss Belinda Chandrakind, curses on Russell Davis, the big difference between humanity and Miss Belinda Chandrakind is that the latter have what the doctor calls a pasculum, an organ that in Chandrakind combines the function of the human liver and the human kidneys. Bar that, they're not that much different to each other. Now, from the very little I know, that impressive little fact was the first time we'd heard about an alien species' medical details in Doctor Who. A specific little detail that could be or could be not be important in the long run. It's a minor piece of world building. It's a minor piece of character information, but hopefully it's one that gets kids watching the show asking what on earth the kidney is for. Doctor Who did, after all, start with an educational remit, and whether it did or it didn't, that, I felt, was a genius bit of writing. Beautifully done stuff there, Mr. Davis. There are, of course, other things in the proverbial mix here tonight. It's a somewhat rushed plot point, or somewhat minimised plot point. But we see that Alan, Belinda's former boyfriend, is very linked to the plot of this story. He's central to it in point of fact, and accused of coercive control by Belinda. It's not something that's made a big issue of in the episode, but I can only hope it's something that raises the issue and gets people talking. Another thing that springs to mind here is the fact that Belinda destroys the AI generator, destroys Alan by touching her copy of the star certificate to his, and creating a destructive explosion that kills her former boyfriend and almost kills her. She gets saved, of course, by the Doctor. That scene, that point, if you will, reminded me a lot of the classic John Pertwee story, The Three Doctors. The resolution of that story hung on the second Doctor's recorder being made of matter rather than antimatter, and destroying the antimatter universe it gets taken to when taken out of a protective force field. Now, I'm very aware that there's been rumours Omega, the villain of the Three Doctors and Arc of Infinity, is supposed to be returning in this series. But I couldn't tell you if those rumours are true or not. I couldn't tell you if that scene is a hint of a returning villain or just the reddest of very red herrings. We will have to see what happens on the last two episodes. The first of those, I should add at this point, Wishworld, is due to air on the 24th of May 2025, the date the Doctor is due to return the Belinda home. So, what did I make of the Robot Revolution? Of an episode that introduces us to a new companion and reintroduces the 15th Doctor? I have to say, I think the Robot Revolution is a very competent piece of work. Whilst the robots of the title aren't necessarily the most menacing thing on the block, they do the job they're supposed to do very well. They act as menacing henchbots, if that's a word, to a potentially nastier piece of work in the shape of Alan, the AI generator. And while his controlling relationship with Belinda is possibly underemphasized in this episode, it's probably more appropriate in an EastEnders story arc. It and the medical details raised could make for handy talking points, handy little discussion points after you've seen it on TV. It also gives us a leading character, Ncuti Gatwal's 15th Doctor, who seems far more restrained than he did in his opening first series. That is something I did take to, because I felt his first season appearance was possibly a little bit flamboyant. I don't know. But it also shows us, in the shape of Belinda Chandra, it shows us a new companion who's not only prepared to ask tough questions and to use her knowledge, but is also very much prepared to quietly but very assertively tell us and the Doctor what she wants. She wants to go home. Frankly, I think this series is going to be interesting, and it's something I want to watch the rest of, and it's something...
21:15.
Thank you, Kayla. It's something I'm going to be back for next Saturday. Right, with all of that lot said, done, dusted, swept under the carpet, and then jumped on, thank you very, very much for watching me waffle on about this episode of Doctor Who. Thank you for reading the scripted version if you've gone over to the blog to read it. And thank you for being patient enough to listen to me waffle. I hope you'd like to see a little bit more from me, so feel free to subscribe. The button's around here somewhere. Feel free to have a look at anything I've poked into the little eye there. But please feel free to come back to me either tomorrow when I do tomorrow's Daily Teaser Quiz, or next week, or next Saturday when I watch episode 2 of this season on the 19th of April, or come back to me when on Wednesday, the 16th of April, I will watch the 4th and final episode of classic Doctor Who series, The Savages. Personally, I'm thoroughly enjoying both, and I'd like to share what I think with you, dear viewers. God, that didn't sound pretentious at all, did it? At any rate, thank you for watching. Please come back. I'll see you next time you're here. Take care, have fun, and be seeing you.